Prelude, Wonder, Perturbation, and Political Philosophy. Prelude, James L. Christian. A poem that shaped my philosophical mindset and worldview. Prelude. The following days may cause you to wonder. That's what philosophy is. Wondering. To philosophize is to wonder about life, about right and wrong, love and loneliness, war and death, about freedom, truth, beauty, time, and 1,000 other things. To philosophize is to explore life. It means breaking free to ask questions. It means resisting easy answers. To philosophize is to seek in oneself the courage to ask painful questions. But if by chance, you have already asked all your questions and found all the answers, if you're sure you know right from wrong, and whether God exists, and what justice means, and why men fear and hate and pray, if indeed you've done your wondering about freedom and love and loneliness and those 1,000 other things, then philosophy will waste your time. Philosophy is for those who are willing to be disturbed with a creative disturbance. Philosophy is for those who still have the capacity for wonder. James L. Christian, a retired professor emeritus of philosophy, formerly at Santa Ana College, authored several books on philosophy and theology, including the widely used textbook Philosophy, An Introduction to the Art of Wondering, which I first read circa 1990. This book features the poem Prelude by Christian, which captures the very essence of what it means to philosophize, to wonder, to question, and to allow oneself to be creatively disturbed. It celebrates the courage to confront uncertainty about morality, love, freedom, or the nature of existence without settling for easy answers. Philosophy, in this sense, is not a passive reflection, but an active engagement with the unknown, a willingness to be unsettled and challenged. Christian's creative disturbance aligns closely with Buckminster Fuller's concept of perturbation, as described in his seminal work, Critical Path. Fuller, an American architect, systems theorist, and futurist, argued that genuine progress emerges when we introduce perturbation into stagnant systems. By shaking assumptions, questioning established norms, and imagining radically new possibilities, we create openings for systemic innovation. Perturbation is not chaos. It is deliberate disruption, designed to reveal better ways of organizing, thinking, and living. This poem and Fuller's ideas deeply influenced my political philosophy. To be an agent of change, whether as a thinker, activist, or policymaker, is to embrace both wonder and perturbation. It means challenging entrenched systems, asking uncomfortable questions, and proposing visionary yet practical alternatives that make the old, inefficient ways obsolete. Just as the poem encourages creative disturbance within the individual mind, my political ideology seeks to instill that same restless questioning at a societal level, promoting inclusive governance, sustainability, interspecies ethics, and a collective future for humanity. In essence, the poem reminds us that philosophy, and by extension, transformative politics, is for those who remain open, curious, and willing to be unsettled. Wonder is the spark. Creative disturbance and perturbation are the engines. Together, they drive the evolution of thought and society, enabling us to design paradigms that are both more just and more sustainable. You don't change the world by fighting the status quo. You change the world by creating a new paradigm that renders the old system obsolete. Azlan Adnan, M.A. This insight, echoing the vision of Buckminster Fuller, captures the essence of transformative action. True change is not achieved by endless confrontation with existing structures, but by designing alternatives so compelling and resilient that they naturally supplant outdated models. As a change agent, my mission is to identify systemic weaknesses and reimagine solutions that transcend conventional thinking. As an agent provocateur and activist, I challenge complacency and incompetence, not for the sake of rebellion, but to awaken others to the possibilities of a better, more inclusive, and sustainable collective future. As an advocate, thinker, and writer, I articulate pathways that are both visionary and grounded in practical reasoning, blending idealism with strategic pragmatism. As a polymath, I draw insights from multiple disciplines and eclectic interests: economics, ecology, governance, architecture, business management, technology, mind sciences, organic gardening, nutrition, philosophy, and ethics, to construct holistic frameworks that address complex, interwoven challenges. Each initiative, policy suggestion, or conceptual model is intended not merely to patch the current system, but to illuminate a new paradigm in which old constraints are rendered irrelevant. The old system, with its inefficiencies, inequities, and blind spots, persists because it is assumed immutable. By offering a coherent alternative that is self-evidently superior in logic, functionality, and ethics, the new paradigm makes the old one obsolete, not through conflict, but through inevitability. Change becomes not an act of opposition, but an act of creative disruption, a world in which the problems we currently struggle with dissolve naturally because the conditions that allowed them to exist have been reimagined, rebuilt, and evolved. It is change through evolution, not revolution. While embracing Kaizen, incremental improvements, I am also unafraid of exploring step functions. In practice, this philosophy drives me to focus on structural redesign rather than temporary fixes. It motivates the pursuit of inclusive governance, sustainable development, interspecies ethics, and collective human flourishing. By framing every intervention within the lens of paradigm creation, each effort, however small, contributes to a cumulative momentum capable of reshaping societal norms, economic systems, and environmental stewardship. This approach is inherently ambitious, perhaps even audacious, because it recognizes that incremental reform alone cannot resolve existential challenges. It requires courage to envision futures that seem unattainable and discipline to work methodically toward them. Yet it also carries hope. When a new paradigm is both possible and tangible, it draws others into the vision, catalyzing collaboration, innovation, cross-border cooperation, and ultimately systemic transformation on a global scale. The quote thus serves as both compass and manifesto. It guides my mission as a thinker, activist, advocate, and polymath to shift humanity from a world constrained by outdated systems to one defined by ingenuity, equity, and sustainability, where the old limitations no longer apply. Change, in this sense, is disruptive yet creative, inevitable, and both evolutionary and revolutionary in equal dynamic tension, not because we blindly oppose, but because we build a better future that makes opposition irrelevant. My Political Philosophy and Ideology by Azlan Adnan, M.A. Sunday, 21st of September, 2025. I believe in thinking boldly, acting with purpose, and striving for ideals that challenge the status quo. I hold that visionary goals must be paired with pragmatic strategies to create meaningful change. I seek to inspire others while navigating the realities of human behavior and societal constraints. Big dreams. Yes, I admit that. But if my dreams aren't big enough to scare me, then they're not big enough, not worth pursuing. A journey of 10,000 miles begins with a single step. Defining the destination sets the direction. Without it, any road will get me there. It may not be achieved within my lifetime, but putting it out there matters. If it resonates with a critical mass of people, momentum can build, and the breakthroughs I aspire to may become a distinct possibility. As Margaret Mead famously said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." This optimism guides my philosophy. Yes, it is idealistic, but idealism is my compass. Realpolitik reminds me of friction, entrenched interests, and the slow pace of systemic change. The key is to hold both in dynamic tension. Dream boldly, but act pragmatically. My ideology is morally rigorous and inclusively visionary, emphasizing sustainability, interspecies ethics, and a collective human future. Where it may collide with reality is in implementation. Voluntary transcendence of identity, entrenched power, and self-interest is rarely immediate. Global-scale ambitions, population management, interspecies inclusivity require incremental strategies. I recognize that human behavior is a mix of self-interest and altruism. Expertise-driven governance, geniocracy, newcracy, technocracy, meritocracy must be phased in with democratic legitimacy to avoid backlash or alienation. Messaging must connect with tangible steps, policy pilots, public education, and local experiments in sustainability. My dream sets the horizon. Realpolitik charts the stepping stones. In essence, my philosophy thrives in the balance. Visionary enough to inspire, grounded enough to navigate human constraints. Momentum, optimism, and strategic pragmatism can transform even the most audacious ideals into feasible pathways without diluting the moral core. WFPB, Doctors for Nutrition. WFPB stands for Whole Food, Plant-Based, a diet and lifestyle focused on plant-derived foods that are unprocessed or minimally processed, while minimizing or excluding animal products and highly refined ingredients. The diet emphasizes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds, while avoiding added sugars, refined flours, and oils. The core principle is to eat foods in their natural state or close to it, rather than highly processed imitation products. Key principles: whole foods. Foods that are in their natural, unrefined state or have undergone minimal processing, like canned beans or frozen vegetables. Plant-based. Foods that come exclusively from plants, excluding meat, dairy, eggs, and honey. Minimal processing. A focus on foods that are as close to nature as possible, avoiding ingredients that are heavily refined, such as white flour, white rice, and added oils. Nutrient dense. Prioritizing foods rich in fiber, vitamins, and minerals to meet nutritional needs. Foods to emphasize. Fruits and vegetables. A wide variety of fresh and colorful produce. Whole grains, such as brown rice, oats, quinoa, and whole wheat. Legumes. Beans, lentils, chickpeas, and peas. Nuts and seeds. Almonds, walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds. Foods to limit or avoid processed foods. Any food that has been heavily altered from its natural state. Animal products. Meat, dairy, and eggs. Refined grains, white flour, white rice, and pasta made from refined flour, added sugars and artificial sweeteners, including high fructose corn syrup and confectioner's sugar. Added oils, even those considered minimally processed like olive oil, are typically excluded due to their processing and added calories. WFPB versus vegan diet. While both are plant-focused, a vegan diet focuses only on eliminating animal products and can include highly processed foods, while a WFPB diet additionally emphasizes whole, minimally processed foods. A heartfelt light. To every soul whose hand did give, you've helped me dream, helped me live. In darkest hours your light came through, with hearts so kind, so pure, so true. Your gifts, like stars in deepest night, have steered me gently toward the light. Each coin, each word, each silent prayer, a thread of hope so rich, so rare. My eyes once dimmed now seek the skies, and slowly clearer visions rise. Because of you, I dare to see the world again, its grace, its plea. Your compassion's flame will not just stay with me alone. It lights the way for others wandering through despair, to feel the warmth of selfless care. You've shown what love in action means, in quiet ways through giving scenes. You've built a bridge from soul to soul, and made the broken feel more whole. So let this thanks rise like a song, a melody both soft and strong. May your example gently call more hearts to rise to give. To fall into the joy of lifting pain, of planting hope where none remains. Your kindness walks beside me still, a light, a love, a living will.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to show your support.